I call them Cadillac horror. You know them, movies with actual A-list movie stars that pretend to be better developed stories than your typical horror movie. They have bigger budgets and more locations. Commercials for them used to play in prime time rather than during late night and during professional wrestling shows. Theaters displayed their posters for months before the release. I'm looking at you. What Lies Beneath? The Others, Identity, Gothica, The Glass House, Dead Again, Don't Say a Word, Jennifer 8, and In Dreams. Cadillac horror, sleek and perfectly lit, dialogue delivered with all the awkward pretense that can only be learned on the stage performing Hamlet, all wrapped up by a musical score by Alan Silvestri or Patrick Doyle, the expensive guys. Almost without exception, I hate them all. Big Hollywood is incapable of truly capturing the spirit of the horror movie. Sure, 50 odd years ago, it could occasionally produce an Exorcist or Omen, but in general, it's been the ragtag independents who have given us the genre's finest work. Can you seriously imagine 20th Century Fox's take on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I don't even want to imagine it, truth be told. There's a reason for that, I think. Horror is based on the emotional response of its audience, not on the tropes or setting that so easily define other genres. Setting a film in the Carpathian Mountains doesn't automatically make it a horror film, but name a movie set in the 1860s Colorado territories that isn't a Western. I'll wait. Smaller productions have less resources than their big studio brothers, so they must build a connection with their audience more directly. They can't rely on expensive Star Wars level effects or an actor's baggage to get them over the finish line. What do I mean by actor's baggage? It's simple. You have a favorite actor, you're automatically invested in his or her performance before the film even starts. He or she has been great in other things, so you watch with an open mind and a lot of trust. When you don't recognize the actors, you don't give them the same grace. Honestly, is there all that much difference between what Nicolas Cage does in Longlegs and Tommy Wiseau does in The Room? If you're a Cage fan, you're immediately outraged that I'd say such a thing, and that validates my point entirely. Mood and atmosphere don't necessarily cost a penny, and you can't generate it with CGI. Just ask the Fog remake. Cadillac Horror wants to be seen as better than those independent productions. So for the first two acts, there's a lot of hand-wringing and breathless stage acting. There's probably one violent or spooky set piece to provide a reason for endless self-important chatter about said event. But when we get to the third act, all of these films just repeat the beats of much better and smaller movies. Single White Female and Dead Again both have endings that feel like shallow retreads of virtually every slasher flick made between 1978 and 84. The difference is that the grimy aesthetics of House on Sorority Row's entire runtime make the final chase feel rewarding and earned. It just feels like What Lies Beneath wants to end the story and cash the box office receipts. There's nothing inherently wrong with big budget horror. Hell, Brian De Palma wasn't exactly working on a shoestring when he made Dress to Kill or Carrie, and The Shining proved that money could be very well spent. But if you're going to ask me to put the hand that rocks the cradle up against Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling, then it's going to be a very short fight.